Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, Dr. Seven, please have the seat. Honorable Fana, please have the seat. Chairman of Mangizi, President Takas. Honorable Yemen, please remain seated. Distinguished colleagues, the ministers are here along with the ministers are here. So the essence for which the ministers were invited, those companies are rotating the communication. So we exercise them to kindly administer the oath to the ministers, then we can proceed with the exercise.
Mr. Minister, will you move forward? Madam Minister, will you please come forward if necessary? Your permission. Please come closer to me and raise your right hand. Place your right hand on this Bible. Repeat after me. For your very name and ministry word with you. I,
Dr. Wilhelmina Jala from the Ministry of Health.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
by the testimony I'm about to give
that the testimony I'm about to give,
as it relates to this hearing, will be the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Let your hand remain up until you kiss this Bible. After you kiss the Bible, you drop it right now. Here remain standing until. Mr. Speaker, I am done, sir.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Please. So, Mr. Chief Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Deputy Chief Clerk, please read the communication that prompted this exercise.
Thank you, sir. And I read. April 25, 2019. Honorable Dr. Buffer Chambers,
Speaker, and honorable members of the House of Representatives of the 54th Legislature, Capital Building, Republic of Liberia. Dear Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, I present my compliments and right to draw plenary's attention to the state of affairs of the health sector of our country. In recent times, the airwaves of radio stations and the pages of newspapers have been flooded with news of hospital and other health facilities across the country have either shut down or have sealed down their operations due to lack of electricity or lack of medicines to cater to patients seeking treatment at these facilities. Phoebe Hospital, for example, in Bong County, the only referral hospital in my county and the whole of central Liberia, has been in the news of lack of fuel to operate the generator and the lack of medication. There are reports that health workers have to use lights from their mobile phones to carry out critical medical work. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, these reports are very disturbing and scaring and has the propensity to jeopardize the health sector and undermine government's effort to provide quality health services for our people. To the best of my knowledge, this House appropriated funding for public health centers across the country and provided subsidies to more private hospitals as well. It beats my imagination to hear reports that hospitals are shutting or scaling down their operations due to lack of funding for fuel and medicines. What has happened to the money we appropriated for the health sector? At a time when this administration is doing everything possible to address the critical health needs of our people, we, their direct representatives, cannot afford to sit supinely and play deaf ears to these disturbing reports. We must act now to arrest the situation from escalating. It is against this background and in consonance with our legislative oversight that I crave the indulgence of plenary to invite the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Wilhelmina Jara, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Samuel Detour Jr., as well as the Administrator of the Phoebe Hospital to appear before this August body and explain to us what is going on in the health sector at Phoebe Hospital. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, for your kind consideration in this premise. Respectfully, Honorable J. Marvin Cole, Representative, Electoral District Number 3, Bong County. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Honorable ladies and gentlemen, there was a letter that was written to this August body on April 25, 2019, and had its first reading on May 2nd, 2019, from Honorable J. Marvin Cole of Bong County regarding the situation of our health facilities in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have the communication written there? Inviting
Yes. I have the first communication that was written on May 8th to the ministers of health and finance, with the second letter written also on May 21st, 2019. The first letter, we have the same content. Dear Honorable Minister, I present compliments. I have the honor by directive of the Honorable House of Representatives in section to inform you that it has received a communication from Honorable J. Marvin Cole, Bond County Electoral District No. 3 representative, bringing to the attention of the Honorable House the alleged reported, quote-unquote, plans to shut down operations at hospitals and other health facilities across the country due to lack of medicines and electricity to cater to patients seeking treatment. In view of the above, the Honorable House requests that you appear before its full plenary on Thursday, May 16, 2019, at 12 noon to respond to issues being raised by Honorable Cole. Thanks for your usual cooperation. Sincerely, Madre N. Seyon, Chief Clerk. That was a letter I was waiting first on May 8th. Next one instructed was on May 25th, 2019. The same content. Dear Honorable Minister, I present compliments and have the honor by directive of the Honorable House of Representatives in session to inform you that it regrets your failure to appear before it today, being Monday, May 20, 2019, at 12 noon to discuss the alleged reported plans to shut down operations at hospitals and other health facilities across the country due to lack of medicines and electricity to cater to patients seeking treatment, as raised in the communication received from Honorable J. Marvin Cole, Bond County Electoral District No. 3 representative. In view of the above, the Honorable House requests that we appear before its full plenary on Thursday, May 30, 2019 at 11 a.m. to show cause why you should not be any contempt for failure to honor the House's citation May 8, May 16, 2019. Thanks for your usual cooperation. Sincerely, Madre N. Seyon, Chief Clerk. The same letter went to the Minister of Finance and Health with the same content. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, as you requested, the communication from Honorable J. Marvin Cole was read, and the two communications respectively citing the Ministers of Health and Finance have just been read. That is
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Chief Clerk. Honorable Ministers of Health and Finance, we'll start with the Minister of Health. Can we approach the stand? The Honorable Minister, welcome. And you have heard the reading of the communication. On two occasions, from the communication displayed by the Deputy Chief Clerk, you were invited and you did not attend to the call on two occasions. Phoebe came twice, and Phoebe would not have been you were able to explain everything in your absence. And the wisdom was that the Ministry of Health is the oversight ministry over all health matters. And so it was that you would come and state exactly the relationship between your ministry and that of Phoebe, and what is obtaining at the ministry to give us a full update. But again, reasons surrounding your inability to have been here is what we first want you to state. Why was the case that you could not have appeared when the House invited me.
Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and members of the House, I bring greetings this morning, and also to extend my deepest apologies for not yielding to your call. During the times, the first time of your call, at that particular time it was up and down, listening and running to feet. We went several times to Banga, up and down, trying to straighten out the situation and find out what was really going on here. The second time I was called, at that time we had received 8 containers at the port, and another 2 came making it 10, and was there because those containers were there for a whole month, and the medications were almost in trouble, and we even called the speaker to help us to clear those containers before the medication came rolling. I spent many days there at the port speaking to the port director and other people trying to clear the containers. Right after that, I had to leave to go to the World Health Assembly. Right from the port I left and went and almost missed my flight to go to one of the important health programs that the health ministry had to attend. So I had to attend that, and I left before I received the communication for the second time. I think the communication came later. I had already left, so when I got the communication, I was already in Geneva. How I knew about this communication, I think I saw it on Facebook, and then I was wondering that they had sent for me, but I didn't know that. So that was my reason. I hope that you all will see it, deem necessary to forgive me at this time. I will be humble to not appear. It was not by any disrespect that I did not come at the time that you called me.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm sure the minister received our first letter as stated. And I know in communications, if you have been invited, especially being invited by the Honorable House of Representatives, and you are incapacitated for whatever reason, I agree with some of the reasons that you just alluded to, but that did not stop you from giving us an official excuse or asking for an official excuse to turn to other things. This imam's view is a mismatch when you state that it was in no way a disrespect to the Honorable House. We need to lift the bar when we deal with the Honorable House. You cannot be waiting and you receive letter and just decide to sit, I will say supinely, and come here to us and give some excuses that will not, in my view, hold water. So I hope going forward we can begin to respect the Honorable House, and so that when we are waiting, you respond. Even if you are not coming, you can respond accordingly. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, fellow colleagues, I think in management, if one is not able to communicate, there are other deputies who should be able to do things. For that, I think this was a gross insubordination to the Honorable House for the minister's refusal. I know about the ministers of health, wherein they have to go to Geneva to attend to health-related activities. But even with that, she had the authority to delegate to whoever was in charge, for there is no institution that is left vacant. I submit.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Samuel Hill of
I'm talking directly to
Mr. Deputy Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Mr. Speaker, as I listened to the Honourable Minister, where the Minister said at the time she received the first communication, when she should have been here, she said she left, she went Phoebe. And I believe Phoebe was represented here that very day. That how would Phoebe be coming this way, then the minister will go with Phoebe. I'm a little bit confused. So I just think that the minister did not just want to come here, and that is actually a total disrespect to this house. So they actually need to take this house very seriously. When you receive communication from the house, know that we are here to represent our people, and we are here to do the people business. So it should be our obligation to come. Thank you.
It seems as people are kind of saying all the same thing. So we're also firstly I will recognize Honorable Smith, Honorable Tafia, and Honorable Sewombi for Honorable First Honorable Smith.
Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I would like to go straight to the point here to remind the Minister of Health that when it comes to the health of our people, where the people look up to the government to protect them. We've heard over radios in this country the devastation coming from hospitals and clinics across this country. And my own clinic in Johnsonville, a part of this. We heard that Phoebe were operating with telephone flashlights. So, let me conclude. Madam Minister,
we are not getting to the substantive matter. It's the procedural aspects.
Exactly so.
Thank you. Having a justification.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Madam Minister, what we heard here today, in my own mind, does not justify the apologies you are giving, and I would be tempted to recommend a contempt, action being taken against you for such behavior, not recognized in this House, especially the will of the people. I submit.
Honorable Bashir, we have already abbreviated the entire exercise. So people will know exactly, what the term is. So it will come to Thank you. Please, Honorable Kafia.
Speaker, co-presiding distinguished colleagues, I think we've listened to the minister laying out her case and our colleagues responding in the manner that I feel is appropriate, given that her excuses cannot suffice, given all of the justification our colleagues have put forth. But I think we need to go forward. For me, I would plead that we accept the apology and go to the meat of the issue.
It might be written apology.
So, whatever way we can do it for her to apologize, maybe written letter to apologize to the House, but I think we need to forgive her and then allow us to go to the matter that has to do with the health issue, because it is cardinal for us to understand what really is happening in the health sector, because the news is everywhere that most of the hospitals do not have medicine. So I would suggest if I can make a motion.
No.
Forward.
Yeah. Somebody said
Okay, so that's my way forward. So we can forgive her and we move on. Thank you.
It is true that in her apology, she just bluntly apologized to the Honorable House, and which is the best thing to do. Exactly. But on the vice call, the Deputy Minister, who is the CMO, Dr. Francis Kete, came along with VB people right here. They were here. But when they came, it was due to the lateness of the time that we could not Hello. Thank you. Take it back. Okay, now for the way forward, we know that as our Honorable Kavia has suggested, whether publicly, rating or whatever, that rating apology is required. So, we anticipate that the rating apology should be accepted or should be submitted to this Honorable House, whether she herself, within at least the period of 72 hours, she can submit a written apology to this Honorable House, irrespective of whatever communication was done. So,
all right.
You can't take you on.
The issue here is that you can see the willingness of the minister to cooperate. And you can see the kind of industrious nature she has been proceeding in the sector. And on that note, we ask the Honorable Kafir to give us a motion for the matter.
Considering the fact that our minister have come before this body and showing remorsefulness and apologizing to this body, and in the vein that we discuss the way forward for the health sector, I now move, if I can obtain a second, that the minister's apology be accepted and that she be reminded that this should not happen any longer.
Yes.
And we hold on to the debate for us to understand what is happening in the health sector. If I can obtain a second.
2 seconds.
Please.
Ready.
Concern about people.
Yeah, Paramount.
Therefore, honorable God, if you would do that, they will be disrupting the exercise of this body. You will not come to the side. Thank you.
Nobody. I'm stronger than Sanya.
So the body would like to know, not precipitated, such action or action not appearing. So can you please address yourself to that?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished members of the House of Representatives, let me say my Ladies and gentlemen of the House of Representatives, let me say it's a great opportunity to stand before you here today in full session. I regret my lack of appearance to these critical hearings the last time I was cited. The House of Representatives is the house of power for the people. The public servants or officials of government must honor calls when those calls are made, because this is where ultimate power lies. I did provide a formal communication about the national obligation that warranted my absence. I would like to state emphatically that my absence was not in disrespect to this august body, but on account of pressing national issues. At all future dates, you have my phone, you have my word that I will honor all future obligations to the full plenary of the House of Representatives to discuss these critical matters pertaining to a whole range of issues, whether health, economy. And so please, I plead the honorable members to accept my sincerest apology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Distinguished colleagues.
Sergeant Arms.
Distinguished colleagues, yeah, that's okay. Distinguished colleagues, you've heard the lead from the minister. Okay, so with that, can you now be recognized, Honorable Fofana, for your meaningful contribution?
So
you cannot. No, it's a motion.
Mr. Speaker, we have already voted for this motion. Okay, she already made a motion, so I seconded it. I want to make an inquiry. You cannot be asking the minister, you cannot be accepting the minister's apology when the minister has already stated that he had written before. So the minister cannot even be on contempt.
And he cannot be held to explain to why he did not come.
The minister cannot be held. The minister cannot be held. Mr. Speaker,
then I trust the phone and the user are written. So you should not be stating why he did not come.
He can't be stating why he did not come when he wrote. The letter should be read, Speaker. To show that he has written. You cannot be making any apology. You have the prerogatives. Mr. Speaker, the minister has just stated that he knows
He wrote, but he still apologized. So we will not get accepted. Start making.
Thank you, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and Speaker Koli. Let's stop the grandstanding here and get to the meat of the issue that the Speaker said. The minister wrote, he apologized, and I think it's all honor for the House. I therefore move, if I can be seconded, that the apology be accepted and we move on with the discussion that the minister was invited here for.
Can we be decorous and listen to the Honorable Minister? Thank you. Honorable Minister, please proceed.
First, let me say thank you all for giving me, and I promise that this will not happen again. On the line of Phoebe Hospital, I had the privilege of going to find out a lot of details about this particular hospital. And what I have learned that there's no written documents to say that Phoebe Hospital is a government institution. According to the documents the information that I received, in 1974, President Talbot at the time, because this hospital was closing, he decided to call Honorable Richard Bright, who was the Minister of Health at the time, and asked him to take over this hospital and help this hospital from not closing. So this hospital was not officially a government hospital. This hospital is run by a board, and the board is, most of the members of the board are Methodist, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, and other faith-based members of that board. The government has a deputy position on that board, and 4 other persons that help to run the board. So this makes it a little bit difficult to actually check into the finances at Phoebe Hospital. But at the time when Phoebe were on the air saying that they had no fuel, in their budget there was $250,552 United States dollars in their budget at that time. A month before that time, they are part of the performance-based financing, and this money was in their bank account. They are part of the performance-based financing. A month before that, they had received almost $50,000 from the performance-based financing that they would have used towards fuel and drugs. So because of all of this funding, and we have records on how much money other than $1.9 million that is in Phoebe budget, they have received $1.5 million up to date, with a balance of only $328,000. So because of that, that's why we kept going down to Phoebe to find out how are they using the finances that they are receiving from the government. So right now, we have been checking with them. We have helped them to procure the 3 months fuel with the money that we gave them a week after they were on the air. And then we have sat with the administrator and the other members of that But we even went up there for a board meeting because we said if we cannot give full access to all of Phoebe, then we need to change the board. The government need to get a written document that this is a government institution, allowing the government to be the head of that board so we can have access into what exactly they are doing. And so far we have gotten a lot of, the deputy minister has been working closely with Phoebe to check to see how many persons that the government pay on the payroll, what is exactly happening to the finances that they are receiving. Phoebe Hospital has the drug depot located in that hospital. Our drug depot is there. So that means they have direct access to whatever medication that the government provides. They also have gone the extended mile by opening a small institution inside the hospital that they have extra drugs that they have obtained on a revolving drug basis. So a lot of research and resources are pumped into Phoebe. It's just maybe because of the way how the Phoebe was set up, we didn't step in, but now we are stepping in. We're trying to get this document written that will allow the government to be have more access into what they are doing. And we have been checking now to see whether the employees are paid and the drugs are there. The more than 10 containers that we have received with essential medicine, we are now making preparation to begin distribution to all of the different counties. And one of the things that we have done so far will be contacting each representative, the caucus, the superintendent, because as this new set of drugs go, we want you to be in the know. Maybe it was our fault that we haven't been telling you the drugs are going. This is the documentation. This is what they have received. But if you all will work with us to make sure when we call you and say the drugs are going to be delivered to your county, if you have anybody there that can help us to monitor the drugs that we will send there, we have a way of distributing them to the last mile. Because once they get to the depot, we have to carry it to each facility. And we have a way to carry it to the facilities. But we need eyes. We have, even we're working with finance ministry, they have some managers in the county that we want to use. We want to use everybody because we all don't want to hear that no drugs, no drugs. It's not a happy thing to go to that facility and not receiving drugs when we are purchasing the drugs and carrying it. So we're trying to put mechanism in place that will help us because the drugs are available. If we reach it to the county depot is responsible for taking it to each of the facilities. If it do not get to the facilities, then you will hear that these small clinics did not receive the drugs. But now we have been working closely and we want to work closely with each regulatory body to make sure that the drug reaches each individual clinic going forward. We're getting ready to do round 12. And we hope that once we call you or the caucus head and the superintendent to say that the drugs are coming, that you will work closely with us to make sure that it's there. Keeping drugs and making sure they are there is a difficult job, and everybody got to be on board for these things to happen. So this is the Phoebe story, and we are working closely with them to move things forward.
Speaker of fellow colleagues, I have some great concerns. I have some great concerns to our distinguished minister. That issue is no compromising issue and educational issues. My first concern here is that, Madam Witness, you are the head of health institutions in our country. whether public or whether private. We cannot find any excuse as a government because we inherited FIDI. That is no genuine excuse as a government to say because one president turned it over and the government all have been doing extremely well trying to help FIDI hospital. So my first concern has to do with the fact that you have to step up your game because when monies are placed into the budget for health institutions, you should have a monitoring system. I guess you get county health officer, you have district health officer, and up to now you have spent 1.5 million United States dollars, according to you. So if the budget is 1.9, they only have 0.4. And I guess they're already going into the 0.4 or they're going into the 0.4. So what mechanism did you put into place first to monitor so that such amount of money cannot be abused, that people cannot pocket such amount of money? Because it also brings me to the fact that there are private hospitals that are being sponsored by government. What mechanism as a minister you have put into place? Very scary. These private institutions are not owned by government and are government money. So if you call on lawmakers to help to monitor, for example, I see an indifference because they cannot execute. They have their own oversight responsibility to invite you people at the executive branch of government, which I will not encourage the lawmaker to get involved into the execution process except the monitoring process. So I want to know clearly, my minister, what mechanism have you put into place to ensure that government money that have been spent to private entities, whether these private entities report to the Ministry of Health regularly on Monday when they receive this money, or they present a request to the Ministry of Health before they receive this money, we need to know that. If they don't, then the finance minister will have to answer on the issue of how this money is being given to these private institutions, because it's very important. Now, in my district, we have 2 health centers. We have the Solomon Health Center. We have the government. Solomon Health Center and that no, you shut that. The minister made a private statement of government control finances. That's where we're coming from. Please, so.
Honorable Gray, is that the issue of FIBI is the issue under discussion. So let Honorable Gray stick to the issue. We have time. Let's stick to the issue. The issue.
The issue of management of finances to private institutions. That's the issue.
You are listening to the order. It is stated on this item that plans to shut down operations at hospitals.
Can't read. We got your readings. We put it out outside the road.
You are only here as a rebel group. The rebel group is
Democratic bloc. So I want to ask the Minister. Madam Minister, my concern, Soliway Health Center is dilapidated. Slowway Health Center is extremely dilapidated. We see that even for the Ministry of Health, when budgets are being submitted, other health centers are included, unlike health centers from the district. The records are there in terms of land anthem under the Ministry of Health in terms of health centers. So my concern, what are you doing to address such a situation, and what are you also doing to ensure that government money is not being abused and private institutions is very important for us to know, because that will determine to a great extent for many of us how we support the budget in terms of the health sector, how we vote for it, how we act on that. It's extremely important. Government hospitals cannot be dilapidated, and private institutions are stronger than government institutions. So we want to know, what are you doing towards that? Information.
There's a primary objective. There's a primary objective. So basically, let them give some information regarding what caused the communication.
Mr. Speaker, Deputy Distinguished colleagues, as I listen to the Minister of Health, there's a major revelation. My interest in this situation grew more. I stated before that I believe that this government was doing everything to ensure that the health of our people are taken care of. When I listened to Phoebe, administrators and authorities saying there's no light, there is no money, I thought it was important to raise this issue. So today it's clear that the Minister of Health has not given approbation to what I've said, that more than $1.5 million have gone to Phoebe Hospital. Up to present, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Distinguished colleagues, if you went to Phoebe just a week ago, patients are paying fees and for treatment. And public facilities in Bond, to be very specific, Bonmine Hospital. If you went to Bonmine today, you will not even find paracetamol. When Phoebe is receiving $1.5 million, $1,981,976 in the budget. When Bonmine Hospital that catering to even more than 100,000 human beings don't even have 300,000 or 400,000 in the budget. CB Doma, the only maternity hospital in central Liberia. Today, they do not even have up to $500,000 in the budget. But the Minister of Health is clearly stating to all that private facility in Bond, as an example, is receiving $1,981,976. I am thinking and wondering, knowing that the Minister of Health was being informed that this hospital was turned over and is being managed by Bo, that the Ministry of Health does not have absolute control over. Under her watch, she agreed to give them over $1 million. Today,
Distinguished colleagues, please protect the honorable man.
As I learn, Mr. Speaker, what is it that I want to achieve? What is the objective? It's either to prove the health facilities and administrators that they are wrong, the government is providing the necessary resources and they have been mismanaging it. And there must be forensic audit conducted across the country to substantiate the information that the Minister of Health is giving us, that they are paying, I don't know, the Minister of Finance has not confirmed that $1.5 million has already been paid to Phoebe Hospital. He hasn't confirmed that. But the Minister of Health is saying they have paid such money to them up to present. My objective is, across the length and breadth of our country, that monies are paid to health facilities, and there is not a stronger MAE established by the Ministry of Health to monitor. To conclude, even health practitioners at these facilities, some of them, you don't know how they go in, how they come out. Some of them have private clinics, and their private clinics are fully functional when the health of our people being in danger. So, Mr. Speaker, could the minister please tell us about her MAE system, about money she received from national government? Thank you.
The badge you are wearing, Mr. Speaker, the badge you are wearing.
Let us have the opportunity to have our doubts clarified here today.
Thank you.
It means we need a perfect decorum.
I'm emphasizing the issue of people from all out there to speak because it is the source of this communication. More than that, it is a precedent here that when issues come from a particular area, those stakeholders, primary stakeholders, must be given the opportunity to speak. Therefore, let them speak, you will help them. But if, in the event that we cannot have some kind of, quietude here, then I'm afraid that we will have to reschedule the discussion. But as it is, let us be able to allow our colleagues to speak, and then we'll add on to whatever you want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Let me say thank you to the minister for the information given. I listened to her and she said there is no piece of document to prove that Phoebe is in connection or operates with government jurisdiction. I would beg to differ. There are documents to prove that Phoebe has an understanding with government from 1972 coming downward. That is why you find Phoebe in government budgets today. Phoebe also runs a paramedical school that caters to the health need of this country. It's sad that we play politics with the health of people. You know, we say we gave Phoebe $1.9 million. Thank God the health minister, the Minister of Finance is here, he can tell the figure. As today's date, how much Phoebe has received. If you look in the 1.9 million, I think Phoebe here, they gave the cycle of what the budget is. If you look at the recurrent cost in terms of salaries, before you look at goods and services, you will get to know that most of the money we're talking about is in salary. I will tell you that there are issues at Phoebe, I will agree. That there are issues that we need to look into. But to say that you do not have the obligation to cater to the health need of those people by what we are insinuating here today, that is sad.
Information.
Please listen to me, sir.
Information. Yes, sir.
I think Omokafe has given some information.
Yeah, but it's not factual.
Otherwise, when you do recognize, Omokafe has given some information. Please. And the issue here, I think I see no much of a departure between what he is saying and what the minister said. If I can recollect, the minister said that around 1972, because the hospital was about to close, President Tolbert intervened for there to be some support to the hospital, and the architecture involves government membership of the board. So there's an act that we need to see the act.
Bring up a list from this. Bring up a list. That's the information that I was talking about. So presiding, distinguished colleagues, we are talking about the lives of thousands, if not tens of thousands of people. Phoebe is a referral hospital. The minister knows that. Phoebe does not only cater to people in the district, as far as Guinea and the surrounding counties. People go there. It's a referral hospital. So the budget we are talking about today, I am saying if there are issues at Phoebe, we can get in there and find an audit to know what is happening. But for us to come here and say that there is no document to say that Phoebe has an agreement with government, I don't think that's the way to go. Because it's a way that is putting Phoebe against the public that they are receiving money and not catering to the health of the country. So I would think we need to go beyond this and find out what the truth is so that the property can be done at Phoebe. Thank you so much.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, distinguished colleagues. I just need to make the point very much clear. The minister has never said there's no documentation that this hospital deserves money. The minister is very clear that trouble saved the hospital from collapsing. And it is true, the board members are not appointed by the president. The government serves as deputy to this board. So it's a hospital that is being supported by government. As at the time that they were crying, they are receiving money, and we need to make this point clear. This is what the minister is saying, and we should be factual about it. More to that, Honorable Speaker, we're not going to take something that somebody is getting from the internet to say there's an act nothing about the point. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The time you receive money, then you can't say no blessing.
But not blessing, you want to run your help so not water.
So you getting more money even the public hospitals. You want to bring a debate about who? But who should?
Distinguished colleagues. Colleagues, it appears that there are still lingering concerns. And there are people suggesting that there are mountains of contradictions in the bill that I can see. So with this, I think
so they misled all that time. You gotta discuss the issue. Why the place on the government speaker when the news is not government speaker? Why you gotta break it? Nothing with that trouble. They got complain people on that time.
Public, partnership. Phoebe herself in your own budget preparation said the government and the government come to get money and they say private. So for right, hey, people don't want to grant. You know, they can't give.
obviously,
Yes, and the TV talking 2 times. 2 times. No, we can't do the issue because when they say that for you, so whatever they will say, how can you make it?
They're accusing government finance. Okay, and besides that, who are already there? They cannot directly report. They gotta go.
On the other hand, we claim to be the representative of the people, and we are not devoting ourselves accordingly so as to give our people the kind of information they need. So there is no need for grandstanding here. We need to get information to be guided. On this note, we need to act in order to have a way forward. With that, we ask the Honorable Sibo to give us some information, then we'll decide exactly what to do next, because in this atmosphere, we cannot continue with the discussion. We need more adequate time and details to help us to be guided to come up with a conclusion on this matter. So I think on this note, please give us this brief information, and then
the first, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, fellow colleagues. The first thing I want to do is to just give a piece of information that we are missing upon. If you went through our budget, under the line, under the caption, Phoebe Hospital is especially reaching in our budget just passed that Phoebe, by Act of 1962, was passed into law and is a government hospital. It's especially reaching in our laws. So, Mr. Speaker, one of the first things we need to do again to validate that is to see what we can find that act that has said that Phoebe is a government hospital. A second issue is that for us to be able to validate some of the numbers that the minister have given, it will just be fair enough if the Minister of Finance can speak to the numbers. But before the Minister of Finance does that, there is something revealing that the Minister of Health have said that we need to be cognizant of. The Minister of Health have said that as at the time Phoebe was complaining about monies, Phoebe had a staggering 250,000 in her account. Holding 250,000. Now, if that is true, because note that Phoebe is not also here. Hey, my man, you don't have what I'm here. I am saying again, the minister has stated that as at the time Phoebe was complaining about fuel, Phoebe had in her account a staggering 250,000. 250,000. If that is true, it points to something else. We are running a country and our agenda is clear on the issue of health, education, and agriculture. We cannot have people who receive government monies, who own the government monies, cause chaos in our country. Those are critical issues we will be cognizant of in this house, holding to the fact that we have got a function. We must make sure that these people play their role effectively so our country can run well. So, Mr. Speaker, the first thing I thought for us to do is just to have the Minister of Finance validate some of the numbers that we have heard, and then we can find a way forward. Thank you so much.
Please, sir. Colleagues, there's a need, there's too much colleagues, there's a need for validation or verification of all of these contents. Phoebe came, and Phoebe is not here. Numbers have been put out, and these numbers need validation. The use of whatever resources given Phoebe in terms of monetary value also needs some kind of validation. The issue that we need to know everything to be guided, it will require further kind of investigation by the relevant committees in this house. So whatever we are saying based on face value, we consider them, but they need to be verified. On this note, we will say that the Honorable Minister of Health has exhaustively given us some information, and I believe all of us have been keen to hearing what was stated. All of our colleagues gave their contributions, yet we need to be guided and guided properly. Yeah, we need to be guided. It's not, we never get everything. So, distinguished colleagues, the Minister of Finance can give us some brief information as to the issue, narrow to the issue, or focused or concentrated on Phoebe matter. They have other things to do. So after that, we can discharge them and then look into the issue by asking the committees on health and waste, means and finance to verify all of the claims. So I want to say thank you. We now want the Honorable Minister to briefly give us some information as it pertains to this entire exercise. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and distinguished members of the House of Representatives, let me first of all begin by thanking the Honorable Melvin Cole for raising this important issue for debate. I believe this conversation is happening in the full glare of the public, and in the Honorable requesting plenary to look at this issue, I think he is fulfilling, he's discharging his responsibility fully, and it shows that the House is in charge with the national concerns that burden our people. So I will address some of the conversations that are happening. I mean, the budget numbers are before me, but before I go there, I want to set the importance of this discussion and the political nature in which a ruling party or a governing power can come under scrutiny when the facts show otherwise. The Minister of Health did say that in her presentation the need for all sectors in the government to ensure we have systems in place for the effective management and monitoring of government resources. I can say under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. George Manawea, the education, the social sector, spending in those two critical sectors have been a huge priority under the President. And the government has bent over backwards to ensure the resources to the extent budgeted for are provided to those sectors. What, as Minister of Finance, I have been fighting and pushing, even with the Minister of Health. I've gone to the Minister of Health several times to talk about health matters because I've been concerned that money's giving, I don't believe that the government is getting the adequate return for those investments. To give you an example, We have budgeted for, in this budget, around 60 million in grants to hospitals, private stuff, 60 million. We've disbursed around 6 million, 6.5 of that, and there's a balance of 10 million in. My argument with the Minister of Health is that what criteria do we have for hospitals to receive public money, to justify the expenditure of those money? There has to be a set criteria, and I think the Minister of Finance, in conjunction with the Minister of Health, are working on a subsidy strategy or policy. Going into the new budget, especially with an IMF program, we want to ensure dollar for dollar, those who are receiving money are the ones that are supposed to receive money, hospitals I mean, and they are using the money for the intended purpose. So this is a very good debate that we can have. You know, it's a very interesting. Even the conversation about the ownership of Phoebe is also important. The representation of the government on the board is important for transparency reasons. Government should have access to the finances of Phoebe readily, which should be represented strongly and robustly on the board of Phoebe, because it shows here that we're doing well for Phoebe. We budgeted 1.9 million. Now this includes everything. So it's compensation, use of goods and services, and grants. 1.9 million was budgeted. To date, we've disbursed about 1.52. So salary is around 943. This is salary up to April. The government is now paying May. The government is now paying May. So if you added May here, Phoebe could already have consumed about 1 million in salary. Use of goods and services disbursed is 528,000. Now, disbursed when on the number I'm looking at technically may not mean cash received by Phoebe. The budget says an allotment is cash, so it means that they are going to get that money. The money is either just being put out or has been put out. I've confirmed with the Controller General, it's actually getting back to me on the exact amount, cash expenditure. But I don't believe it's less than 400,000. I can put my neck on that one. So if there's any variance there between the 528, it means either Phoebe has a check of 100,000 that is being paid right now. Then Phoebe also has grants, budgeted for 100,000 grants. We've disbursed about 49.9, about 50,000 of that. So, combined with the information that they had money in their account at the time of these complaints, I had to call the Deputy Minister of Information the other night when I heard these conversations on the radio about hospitals. I said, well, what? He had to call OKFM that day because I, as Minister of Finance, I'm aware of the checks that I'm signing. So I asked the question, why is it that some hospital will receive 400,000 and 2 months there's no fuel? It's a serious problem. I tell them when they come to me, if I'm managing Redemption Hospital or something, and I get 400,000, for the whole year nobody will complain about fuel, because that's the minimum thing we can do for any hospital is to keep the light running. Even if we don't have the drugs there, let people not be diagnosed. As an administrator, we want to make sure we have that. But we're not seeing that. So we're also raising the question, well, do we have the best fuel management model in place? Let's look at the business model of managing fuels in hospitals. Jackson Joe Hospital came to me yesterday. And so, Jackson Joe Hospital came to me yesterday. What we are finally thinking about doing now for Jackson Joe, yes.
Listening to the minister, and the minister is saying good things about how we move forward, what some of the concerns he has. But clearly, Mr. Minister, the budget law is clear, Section 8D. You have the responsibility to put in place a subsidy and grant policy by the end of December 2018. Now we are in May, Mr. Minister. That would have served as a guardian to us. I don't want to provide information. That's what the budget law says. Thank you.
Sure. It's a very valid point. Let's take budgeting. And as part of the IMF program, there are going to be rigid fiscal rules around our budget processes, policies around grants to entities. I mean, the strategy and the policy we're putting in place will deal with that. Even framework around monitoring and evaluation, county health team, district teams, everybody is going to get involved in looking at these financing flows. We have today one of the highest supply of drugs this country has ever seen, right now. My concern is that, how long is it going to last? How long is it going to last? So I was talking with the Minister of Health that, look, in other countries we have codings. So if a publicly procured drug is found in a drugstore, we have to go for that drugstore owner, how he got it. Those are the measures that you're going to be seeing in the next budget. Because there should be some distinctive features in the drugs we bring and the drug other people bring in. So we have to find that way. Because it's unacceptable for us to find 2 million, 3 million for drugs, and the next thing you know, 2 months, 3 months later, all the drugs can't be accounted, everything is out. It's unfair. So this is the delivery model that we're working with in the new budget. So you're going to see a lot of changes coming in the new budget. But just to conclude, let me say that Phoebe is well catered for. And let me just provide some broad summary numbers here. The whole health sector as a whole, we had an appropriation at the beginning of 81 million. We have allotted 66 million, have disbursed 54 million. The health sector, there's a lot of money in the health sector. This is public funding. Health sector has a lot of other monies that we as Minister of Finance have been asking. This sector is awash with money. Why is it we don't get the value for money that we deserve between public and NGO money that's in the sector? And so the Minister of Health and our team are doing good work to rationalize the whole space so that at the end of the day in the new budget year, we can see some difference in the sector. I thank you.
Has been exhausted for today's deliberation, and the honorable ministers have to go to attend to other businesses, and RIGO needs to be put in the process of coming up with a kind of understanding as it relates to Phoebe and other related matters. So on this note, we ask for a motion to relieve the honorable ministers.
Leaving that out.
And I'm asking for a motion in that direction.
The guy too for fella. The guy.
Presiding colleagues, now that we have brief account on the subject matter about, I move that if you get a second, that this appearance be adjourned and both ministers be made to submit a detailed account related to the health sector with emphasis on Phoebe. And some sorts to be submitted to us within 1 week, and thereafter come back to continue the appearance to answer those concerns. And the ministers to me for user-based executives. Mr. Finance.
Though the ministers or the ministers will submit detailed information, but those information must be channeled through the committees to be able to do the real evaluation to recommend to us. So restate the motion.
There are certain done by the speaker is hereby incorporated in a motion.
The health committee and the distinguished
Honorable Deputy Speaker, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, good is unanimous.
So, Honorable Minister, you can please have your seat. Distinguished colleagues, we are now discharging the Honorable Minister of